Hello, everyone. I'm going to be doing your critique, the water lily and the poppy. I got a couple of uh, assignments turned in with the poppies this week as well as the water lilies, and got to tell you, I had to hunt hard to figure out what kind of critique I was going to give you all. So I thought it'd be really beneficial if I did the four assignments that came in together, the poppies and the water lilies. And for Carol, I did give her a little bit of a critique on glazing earlier this week, and but she also handed in her poppies, and I'm going to show you. This is her image with my corrections on it. You all will have this image sent to you along with this link. So if you want to print this out, then and follow along, that would be great. In for Carol, she last week the critique was to pump up the background and put a little bit more detail to get depth, and she did do that, and it looks wonderful. So the only little tiny detail I could find, and it's very minor, however, it was something that kind of jumped off the page at me, and in certain areas she had painted little dark, it looked like she wanted to throw in a dark value, and I'm just assuming that she needed a dark value here and there. Um, However, when the dark value is, and I'm going to show you an example on mine. So sometimes let's say you think you just need something really dark, like right here, or let's put it right there. Okay, and you lay that in, and then that's it. Well, this darkest value that is going to just distract from the whole flower. So what I would suggest, and it's a real easy fix, and it might even be something that Carol's going to do. But well, I'll fix that at the very end, because this is detail work now, because we are getting to the end of the painting. Um, you take a glaze of you could take a lighter glaze of this dark value, or you could take a red, or you could take whatever color is next to it, because it jumps from black to pink almost. You could take that same value of pink and just knock it next to it. And this is I'm looking for a transition from this dark shape, and then you can transition it into the pink. Okay, so you're kind of dissolving the shape, but the dark value is still there for the purpose that you placed it there. However, it becomes like right here. That jumps out at me, and that is one of those things that, while you're painting away, you're just laying some of the shapes in and you haven't gotten to it yet. So I would lay a pink or a darker red, it looks like I'm getting right there, right next to it, and then you can glaze it down, and then maybe one more shape over here. And let's say it's still popping too much, you could drop a little bit more dark. Distributing your darks next to this will eliminate that, that focal point that you're not looking for in this area. Okay, so yeah, so that's one of those things that I do at the very end of a painting. I'll stand back and I'll squint my eyes and see if there's something that's standing out. Like this area right here. Is it standing out? What can I do? You just glaze another value next to it, and maybe it'll take one or two glazes, or take one or two values sitting next to it, and um, you know, but it'll become like a transition from light to dark. Um, okay. So, and also another tip is, when you are placing dark values in and amongst your flower, like right here, I have a really deep dark value here, but it does transition a little bit, so it doesn't pop. It needs to be there, so this petal looks like it's in front of, it's curling up and is in front of this, the back part of the petal. So let's say that was the only area I had the dark placed in. Or if you look at this right over here, there's not a real dark value, but if I put a dark value right here, and I'm introducing this new darkest value, then take that dark value and find other areas that can be distributed in, and it will seem as though there's more of a flow than just a spot. Okay, so that's one of those tips that so generally, so when, yeah, darkest value, place it, and then you go, oh, now I'm gonna find new areas in order to distribute those dark values throughout. But you just don't want one tiny little shape. You want to blend it and pull it and find where, you know, how you can actually have the intent, but yet have it so it's not just the one thing that someone will see when they look at your painting. Okay, so Carol, good job, awesome job, very good. And thank you for your patience this whole, you know, through this whole course. This has been quite an educational, technical course for me, and I think for some of you also. And this is Celia's, and she handed this in for this week's assignment. And let's see, the one thing for this critique, I would like to see a little bit more pop in the background, and that would be adding some more darks, and find some shapes that will help you, you know, because without those darker shapes, it's all one medium dark to light, you know, mid-tones. So in order to get that pop, see how the sky right here is helping this jump forward. And so if you're looking for depth within the background, these shapes become key. And so for instance, let's say right here, I want to, this is all kind of mid-tones right in here. So I'm going to just take a little dark shape and pop it in there. Take another dark shape on the other side of the stem, pop it in there. And then look, I have this nice depth that is definitely happening right in the background. And then, of course, me being me, this is not something that you have to do, but I'll find more areas to distribute those darks right here. And then, you know, that's a funny little shape, so you can soften an edge and then let it blend. Okay, so don't be afraid to go ahead and also, I know this takes a long time. I wouldn't expect you to finish the background all in 2 weeks, because that just is one of those things that I think it's best when you put the painting away for a little bit and then you pull it back out and you work some more on the background, because there's such odd little abstract shapes, and you don't want to rush through it, because you could, you know, I could probably paint this background continuously. It's hard to tell when you are finished, but generally, you know, you get to a certain point and you go, okay, I am going to call this done because I'm ready to move on to a new painting. However, don't discount the midtones, and don't discount the darkest values within the midtones. Find little shapes, and you know, maybe make this like one of those projects you can have on your table when you're not actually in the middle of another painting, or you just feel like painting for a few minutes. You know, have it sitting there, have your palette there, and then jump in there and paint in a few shapes. That's what I've been doing with my demos. I'll have something that's in this stage of the game, and I'll just go in, and just because I feel like painting, and I really don't have the intent of painting a whole painting, and I just want to get my brushes wet and play with the pigments for a little bit, and yeah, just have fun with it. Okay, so that's that for the poppy portion of our critique. Now I'm going to move on to Tina and Barbara. Okay, they handed in their assignments, and I'm going to put Tina and Barbara up because, again, hard to find a critique here. So, oops. Okay. I hate writing on these, but it's a print. It's the image that I print out. I just feel like I'm, defacing your painting. But anyway, I have to show you somehow. This is Tina's, and this is and this one over here is Barbara's. Okay, and I'm going to start with Tina's. Wow, beautiful. It is beautiful. Your light touches and just amazing. I struggled with these white petals when I was trying to figure out how to paint this, and I am so heavy-handed. I just always admire those of you that can be, glaze of gentle color, and it just looks fabulous. However, I wanted to find something, so I did. Right here, I'm going to take this guy right over. Yeah, I'll take this guy right here, okay? Because this is kind of at that same stage right here. And when you look at Tina, she's got this wonderful color, the play of color that's reflecting onto the white petals. It makes a whole lot of sense to me. So when I look at these petals right here, I have 1, 2 values. And Tina has more than 2. She has 3 and 4 built into her petals. What I'm going to critique Tina's on is a few more glazes in key areas. And this does not have to happen until the very end of the painting, because it might be something that you don't want to do once the water's built in, because the water will change. Of course, it will change all this, the way you look at these values. So for me, when I paint the water lily, I really feel that painting the petals last is best for me, because all my dark values are in and I can really judge it well. Having all that white paper around, and when those artists, most of you guys, you're able to do the values, the light values properly without letting the white distract you, and you're able to apply the light values against the white. For me, I need, everything placed, and then I'll go in. Although you're saying, well, what about this? Well, you can see I didn't do such a good job, because I discovered that as I was painting the steps, that perhaps I should wait till the very end. So anyway, okay, so for Tina, I suggested little key areas like, darken a glaze, and this is, okay, heavy-handed Joyce, please don't do as I do, being so heavy-handed, because it's such a lovely style that I encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. However, it's a suggestion. If at the very end you feel like the petals are disappearing on the paper, and you want to give it a pop, just go in and know that in these corners you could drop in another glaze, your choice, whatever the color is, and behind that will pop these guys. Okay. Also, down at the bottom here for Tina, I was looking at this, but this is anchoring, anchoring your piece. Let me find one that, okay, so look, so here we are back here. Let's say this isn't anchored yet, and I'm going to switch over to Barbara as well. No, I'm going to stick with Tina, because anchoring back here and here, and that will happen when the water comes into play. But sometimes, even if once you paint in your water, and I'm going to just knock in a little bit of a darker value right here. Let's say you start your water, And you're going to have a bigger brush and bigger brush stroke, and it's going to be wet into wet. But let's say this is me starting the water right here, wet into wet. This will anchor it as well. Sometimes I like to get it a little more dramatic and actually um, put a heavier glaze right here and then let it just transition into a lighter. So you could do this as well, okay, and then still have this nice little shape ready for you. And then once it dries, then you can paint your water in, and that's even going to give you more depth and more values within this little reflection. Okay, so but this is something that you can do after the water's put in. You don't have to do it right away, and also it's your choice because of you know, you all are so good, and you're definitely, you know, advanced painters, and you definitely all have your own style. Um, so it's, if it works for you, do it. Don't feel like you have to do it because this is the critique. It's just fun tips in case of. Um, Also, in the back here, this funny little guy back here, there's like this mouth opening here. For Tina, I showed you a little shape right here. It's going to be right there. And you can also play with that shape and darken it. I just get intrigued when it's like a cylinder and you want to be able to see inside of it. I just think that's always fun. Okay, so that's that for Tina. Now I'm going to move over here to Barbara, and Barbara's work is just equally as incredible. It's just that Tina worked hers a little bit further along. And for Barbara, what I'm hoping to see have happen is um, I used colored pencil on this just to show the shapes of the leaves. Okay, the shapes of this pod or the bud. Um, okay, so you look at this. This is pretty flat, but even that one shape kind of popped out a little bit. It's funny how that happens. But what I encourage you to do, Barbara, is take a glaze of, you know, you can take your yellow, and you can take the burnt sienna, of course, and come along here, and then you can darken this, darken it, okay, and that's actually, of course, I'm going to bring it down into the water there, and then with a, you know, a clean, damp brush, then you can pull it up a little bit, okay, and while that's wet at the bottom, you could take, I'm putting a little bit more of the burnt sienna combo, or the yellow and orange, I mean yellow and red, the orange pigment, and you can drop it right there, and it's a creamier consistency, so it's going to hang there for you, and then pull it, pull it, pull it, pull it up, okay, and then let it go from dark to light, and of course, Joyce never is satisfied unless I get it really dark. But, and again, this is just a suggestion. You guys, being heavy-handed is not one of the, I don't know. It's nice to, if you could go heavy-handed and then go back and have a light touch, which I don't have. I guess I could do it if I, you know, chose to, but I choose not to because it's more of my personality, this style. But anyway, so do you see? I'm finding shape within these petals. Also, if you want to take a little glaze of phthalo blue and a little glaze of phthalo blue, and let's see, since it's so bright yellow, you can actually take this and paint right back over your petal, and that's pretty dark right there, but you soften, soften, soften. And you see, this helps create the shape of the petal, you know, because you want to find the roundness. Oops, and there you have it. Okay, so also, and I did also critique this a little bit for Barbara as well, and this is good to know for all of you. And it's not something, again, you don't have to do it. You can move ahead in your painting, and you can leave this for later because it might be something that you choose not to do because you really like the light transparency of these petals. And that, you know, it's lovely how it can work both ways. If you want to get really rich dark tones and just have it really almost on the darkest of dark values, or if you want to keep it light and transparent, the choice is yours. So, okay, guys, thank you so much. I did share this with Carol. This week has been a tough week for me. My son had a mountain biking accident, and he was ER, hospital, home, fever rose, and late last night, surgery. So, but he's doing great, and I don't feel as stressed about everything. So, yeah, so he's doing great. I'm back on track, giving you guys your critiques. So that, yeah, and that's, I guess that's my excuse for getting it late to you today. But hang in there. And generally, one more thing, when you submit a critique, and you still want to, and you haven't heard back from me, but you want to still paint, well, if I'm going to be critiquing this stage of the painting, go ahead and paint the, you know, move on. It's okay to move on. You don't have to wait to hear back from me, because generally most of the critiques are something that is going to be detailed oriented. I'm going to just glaze over this little guy because this is something we're going to do this upcoming week. Just glaze over. Okay. Also, I'm going to be submitting to you my varnishing video, and I don't think I have posted the varnish video, but it is up there on YouTube. And we're going to talk a little bit more about framing a piece once it's varnished, and I think it's really exciting. I think the framing really sets off these pieces after they've been varnished, and I'm going to show you a little bit more about that this week. Okay, have a great weekend. Hang in there. You guys are awesome. I know Celia's still having some technical issues with the audio of the water lily. If anyone else has that same issue, you know, let me know. You know, it's out of my control how the videos are linked into the site, and it's out of my control if it's your computer or the video how it's set up. So yeah, so generally it's like a technical term that, or a technical problem that you can contact Blackboard technicians, and they should be able to help you with it. But I apologize that it must be so frustrating not to be able to hear. But maybe just watch, and you know, I'm just gabbing on, I guess. So watching is sometimes better than listening to my voice. Okay, thank you guys, and take care.